This new way of searching makes it so much easier to discover things you never would have thought of. I thought OMG was the coolest category, and then I discovered castles in France for $100 a night. Why did you think that now was the right time to completely change the way you search?
Well, because travel has probably changed more than it ever has since World War II. Because of the pandemic, now millions of people don't have to go back to an office 5 days a week. And because of that, it means they're more flexible. They can go away for the summer. They can go away for 3-day weekends. People can travel a lot more places for a lot more time. And we realize that the way you search online for the 25 years hasn't changed. It's a big box, a search box, and ask you, where are you going? But most people are flexible where to go, and they can't think to type in all 100,000 places on Airbnb. And we thought the world has changed, travel's changed, it's time for Airbnb to change and show you a whole world of possibilities. Now you can search by castles, by Frank Lloyd Wright homes, you can search by, like all different types of places. You can search by vineyards, golfing, whatever interest you are. I think there's a whole new way to search for travel.
Now, there's a new 24-hour helpline to try to meet that hotel level of customer service that Airbnb has kind of been lacking. How many people did you have to hire to make this work, and what kind of resources have you had to build up on the back end?
Yeah, I mean, it's a little hard to know exactly how many people because we hire people based on how big the demand will be this summer, but we have staffed up. But we do think it's a great investment. What we are offering is a new product called Air Cover. It's end-to-end protection for every guest. So on the unlikely event a host cancels or the Airbnb is not as described, Airbnb will handle it. You can call us, we'll get you an equivalent home or an upgrade, or we'll refund you. And we have a whole operation to try to take care of this. The idea is Airbnb doesn't have a front desk, but we're trying to provide the next best thing to provide that consistency of service.
Now, Bloomberg has spoken to some hosts who are worried that guests are going to take advantage of this. Some folks, they're talking about listing their own properties elsewhere, starting their own booking platforms. How are you addressing this tension with hosts, and how much resistance have you gotten from them?
We have not actually gotten meaningful resistance at all. Hosts are very happy, and I'll tell you why. Because Air Cover is also offered to hosts. We launched it last November. Every host on Airbnb gets $1 million damage protection, $1 million property damage liability protection, and this is something we offer for free. Air Cover for guests is something that Airbnb takes on. We take on this financial burden to provide this protection so that a host doesn't have to. This is very important.
When we talked last week, you said Airbnb is still expecting a big travel summer, but inflation is still hot, above estimates yet again this month. And when you look at your average daily rates for the third quarter, they were almost 40% higher than they were back in 2019. Are customers really going to spend more to travel when they're choosing between travel and gas and groceries?
Well, first of all, the reason that the price per night went up was mostly because people are booking more expensive Airbnbs. So before the pandemic, a lot of people were traveling by themselves or one person. They were booking 1- and 2-bedroom homes. Now they're booking much bigger homes to travel with families and groups. And there's been a mix shift from Asia to North America and Europe. And these are higher price per nights. That's the primary contribution for the increase in price. You are correct, though. A lot of people aren't going to be able to travel and be able to afford to travel. But another thing, Airbnb was started during the Great Recession in 2008. And people used Airbnb because it was a more affordable way to travel. After 2 years of people not being able to leave their home, many people, I think they want to get out, and this is going to be a travel rebound unlike anything we've ever seen before.
Still, even though you're projecting this travel rebound, you've got Airbnb shares down to new lows. And I'm so curious how you're watching this broader market turmoil. What's your take on this?
I'm not watching the broader market turmoil, and I would hope shareholders know that I'm obsessed over every single day are the inputs to the stock price, not the stock price. I think that's the very best thing for shareholders. So my job is to make sure we have the best service. We have enough hosts. They're prepared for the great travel season. That's what I'm going to worry about. We're going to play a long game, and I think the long-term shareholders will really benefit from that.
I wonder how this impacts retention and recruiting, though. We're actually seeing a lot of companies that really soared in the pandemic, struggling. Coinbase, Robinhood as well. Do you think this could impact hiring at all, or the mood in Silicon Valley?
I mean, we're actually completely overwhelmed with hiring. We're completely overwhelmed. 2 weeks ago, we announced that Airbnb employees can live and work anywhere in the world. And if you move wherever you want in the country, we're not going to lower your pay. Since we made that announcement, more than 1 million people visited our jobs and careers page. We only have 6,000 people at the company. So I do think that there might be some broader kind of considerations, but Airbnb, we have quite a lot of interest, and I don't think that will change.
So Twitter just announced a hiring freeze and cutting costs, potentially rescinding some offers for a different reason. And I wonder, with this on top of other companies pausing hiring, if this could be a moment of opportunity for you. Do you see this as a chance to attract, be a magnet for new talent?
I mean, a lot of people are reaching out to us from other big tech companies, maybe because a lot of tech companies are asking people to go back to the office 3 days a week, or maybe because they're not hiring as many. But make no mistake, Airbnb is stepping on the gas this summer.
How are you stepping on the gas in China? We're seeing ongoing COVID lockdowns there. I know it's been a priority for you in years past. What trends are you seeing in APAC, and when do you expect them to recover?
You know, our China business has primarily been people in China leaving China, obviously crossing a border, so it's cross-border travel, going to other countries. Japan was a really popular corridor. South Korea, they're going to like Europe, they're going to other places. Because of the situation in China in COVID, there's not a huge amount of outbound business right now, and so our business in China is not super robust, and it's going to probably be a while. It's really going to track with the health crisis.
Now, you're calling this your summer release, and I'm so curious how often we're going to be seeing new releases from you. Crypto payments, I know, is something that users have been asking for, and you've been surveying them.
Yeah.
How optimistic are you about crypto? I mean, we're seeing it get caught up in the broader market turmoil as well, and will they definitely be part of Airbnb's future one day?
We're going to do 2 releases a year. Every May, we're going to do a summer release. We do it in May's spring, but it's in time for the summer travel season. And then in November, we're going to do a winter release, and winter starts in December. So we'll do it a month before winter. So we'll do it, and you can expect a lot of updates this November. But I'm not going to comment on crypto, except to say we've been looking at it ever since I pulled Twitter, and crypto payments was the #1 requested feature on Twitter.
Meantime, I know how much a priority design is for you, especially seeing this redesign today. You've been working with Johnny Ive. How involved was he in this redesign, and what have you learned from him so far?
I've learned so much from him. He inspired a lot of thinking, but I think that what I'll say is that Johnny's work is coming in the future. Mostly what you saw today was our internal teams.
You have been living and working on Airbnb now for the last several months yourself, along with your dog, Sophie. What have you and Sophie learned so far? What have been your favorite stays? Oh, we got Sophie. There she is.
There she is. Yeah, Sophie. Her name is Sophie Supernova because she emits more energy than a collapsing star. And she, here's what I've learned, Emily. The longer you're away from home, the more you want to be in a home, and the more you want your home to feel like the home you live in. You know, when you're working at your home, you want really great Wi-Fi, and you want that to be verified. You want the kitchen to be stocked. You want enough things to cook. You want a lot of the amenities. You want to be in a great neighborhood that you want to walk around in. It really reinforced a lot of the ideas that we ended up pushing out yesterday, including the idea that people are more flexible. Like, for example, I went to Ann Arbor, Michigan. I'd never been there before, but the reason I went was because there's a Frank Lloyd Wright house, and I would have never discovered it if I had to type Ann Arbor in a map, because I probably wouldn't have typed that in. So I think that people are going to discover a whole world of possibilities. You don't just have to go to Rome. You don't just have to go to Vegas. You don't just go to Miami or LA. There's 100,000 communities all over the world, and there's a whole world of possibilities I think people are just waiting to discover.
So where are you and Sophie going next? And what are going to be your top priorities for the rest of this year on Airbnb? Well,
we're here obviously in New York right now. We're open to ideas. So if you have ideas, we're ready to open.
Well, we're a little disappointed that you didn't bring Sophie into the studio today, but I do appreciate you coming in. Airbnb CEO Brian Chesky, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.